How's it going? My name is Brent from Encore. This is a Ford F150 2023, and we're going to be putting some paint protection on this door. So this is a video that I'm doing by request, and so what we're going to be doing is bulking this entire door. Some things that we removed are going to be this trim along here, and we're going to, so that way we can tuck that material up in there. And then we also, I removed the door handle. If I'm doing full doors, I'm normally removing door handles. It's just so much easier to work around. And then you also aren't going to have a seam in here. All right. The other thing I did was kind of pull this rubber down here so that we could wrap into this area right here where the window rubber is. All right, terrific. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we definitely want to check everything from side to side, make sure we've got good coverage all the way around. And let's go ahead and get started on this. So the area I'm going to tack down first is going to be right across here, right underneath the window. Let's see here. It's kind of going to want to peel up because we've got the material up on the top, so it's kind of stretching it a little bit. So let's go ahead and put a trim on this. All right, that should work a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and pull this back. Now let's go ahead and squeegee this top, or top of the, no, it's not really the top, is it? Oh well, whatever it is. Right underneath the window. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead from here. I'm gonna go ahead and start taking this down. Oh, look at that. You little brat. I don't know if you guys can even see that, but it's a little, just a little piece of felt in there. Okay. Uh-oh. I'm running out of slip solution. I thought I was gonna have enough for this. All right, let's just take this down. So I'm going to kind of seal this down around the door handle, around this area here. So good overlapping strokes. All right, so once we get down to this area here, I'm going to go ahead and push that down with my finger, and it looks like there's been a little bit of tension on this, so it doesn't want to wrap in there real well. It should lay in there flat real easily. Okay. And then let's go ahead and get this out. So I find when I turn the squeegee around and go this way, it puts, hang on real quick. Does that sound super annoying? Alright, feels like there might be a water bubble right here. Alright, we just want to, be real diligent about checking for water bubbles left behind. On white, it's really hard to see. All right, so we're just going to continue to make our way down. Oh, so as I was saying before, when I go this direction, I find that I can put, it's like, let's see. So this direction is a little less aggressive than this direction. This direction seems to be a little, more aggressive as far as pressure and being able to get the material, be able to squeegee the water out. But the thing that you need to know about going this direction is you're only going to be able to use that technique in certain areas. Because if I just take this and go right here, I'm just going to bunch the material up. So that's where, this dragging it instead of pushing it is a much better technique. So you could do this. That seems to be working okay. It's just in certain areas it's definitely going to be an issue. So, and when I'm in these recesses here, if I do this and there's a bunch of moisture in there, you can really bunch it up. And this, there's really not a chance of bunching it up. So, did I talk enough about that? All right, so we're working out of this recess there. I'm gonna go over this edge and I'm gonna hold that with my finger. Looks like there's another little part that's coming up right here. Hold that one down as well. Okay. Let's go ahead and take this the rest of the way down. So when I do use that technique, when the material's just kind of hanging here, it is pretty light. It's pretty light that I'm going over it like that. Now let's see if we can get you an angle on that bottom. All right, there we go. So in this area I am using a lot of pressure. There's the paint down here has a texture over the top of it to help protect it against rocks. It's not so much the paint as it's trying to protect the body, I believe. Otherwise the paint wouldn't be over the top of it, right? Okay, let me go ahead and refill my bottle. Alright, well, let's see. Should I redo that section? I totally just installed this part without recording it, at least on the Sony. So let's just do it again, huh? Alright, so what I was saying is that I had to pull this back because I had a little bit of pre-tacking there because I just had to refill my keg. So let's go ahead and do this again. Okay, right there. And then we'll just go ahead and squeegee all this out. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's do a couple things real quick here. Let's do a little bit more of a trim on this. We really want to get to that door before we're going to get stretch marks. Or, I'm sorry, not the door. We're working on the door, aren't we? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this doesn't tack up. Put a little bit more soap in there. Okay, now let's go ahead and work on this handle. So first thing that we need to do is trim around the holes where the door handle goes. Okay. I was a little gentle on that cut. It looks like it still kind of went through enough. Okay, great. And then so what we're going to do is let's go ahead and trim around this one as well. All right, let's go ahead and get some more slip solution in here inside this door cup. All right, and then let's get a little bit more in this part. All right, there we go. So what I'm gonna do is wrap this part in. And because there's a recess on this door, oh, look at that. There's a little bit of dirt in there. It must have come out from underneath here. You know, I pressure washed the heck out of that, and then I sprayed it real good with my keg, with my slip solution, but still, there we go. Still had a little bit of dirt in it. So all I did was pick it back and kind of rub it with my fingernail. And then sometimes you have to put some slip solution in there to rinse it out. And then sometimes, you know, there's so much in here coming out, it just was rinsing itself out. All right, so make sure that you're pushing all of this down. You know, you're getting into this recess really well. And then once I have a part down, I'm going to go ahead and fill with my finger. And another technique is to just go over this with your finger and kind of push out the bulk of the air and the water. And then that is, you know, it's just another technique to get some of that out of there before you start squeegeeing it down. Any water that you leave in there will leave an air pocket, so you will be coming back later with a syringe and popping those air pockets. All right, so here's how we deal with the door cup. So what I went ahead and did is all this part is tacked down, and this part is left untacked. So what I'm doing here is just splashing that water around to make sure that everything is not tacked and it's got some new fresh water on it. All right, and then if you can see here, the air is coming back in. It'll come in here, and that'll allow that to fill back up with air. So what we want to do is trap that and then push as much of the air and water out as possible. And then we will continue to put our fingers here and hold this down. All right, so just go across the actual body of the truck first, and then we'll go ahead and work on the actual door cup now. And we're just basically going to bring everything over to this area that we're just beginning to tack down. So tacking that side down, what that allows us to do is not have the air and water continue to come in, and then we just take everything out to this side. All right, so definitely, you know, spend a little bit of time making sure that you didn't leave any water behind in there. Terrific. All right, and then let's go ahead now, and we're going to push this all down here. So let's go ahead and get majority of that air and water out. Okay, and then again, we want to squeegee the door first, and then now we're going to work down into where the handle sits. Okay, great. So that's a technique I really like for door cups. It's an easy way to get the water out and the soap out without, you know, it continuing to fill back up by itself. All right, so now let's go ahead and wrap around this window. Okay, so let's go ahead and start tucking this in now. I'm gonna do a slide chomp on this. And something that's important when you're doing a slide chomp is that you don't go too much like this. You want to keep it more at this angle here. Less possibility of bunching the material up. Okay, just double checking there to make sure that it got all the water out. All right, so this is all looking good. We'll go ahead and just continue to work our way up and around. Alright, and then when I do this, you may see me coming up like this far, even right here. But really all that we're gonna actually, so this bottom part I'm gonna go ahead and trim right on this flat part here. So we're not gonna go up that in the back there. And then this part, I am gonna come just right to about here, maybe about a little bit over 1/8 of an inch from that edge. And then that's where we'll go ahead and trim that one. Let's go ahead and, I know I put some tack in here. See how this works with a little bit of slip instead. Alright, so, and I never, when I do that slide chomp, I'm never going to get it all pushed down on the first time around. It's usually going to take 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 passes before I get the whole area pushed down. Okay, let's go ahead and see about tucking this in here just a little bit behind this piece of plastic here on the, let's see. That's going to be the B pillar. Untack that from the roof and then we'll just kind of tuck that in for now. Okay, so now we've got all this wrapped. Okay, let's go ahead and trim this now. Alright, so after I trim and then tear something like that, I want to go ahead and go over that edge one more time and make sure that it's not filled up and that no moisture got underneath the material. Alright, let's go across the top now. Alright, so I don't know if, hopefully you can see that. We're going to go ahead and trim right in here. And then we'll come down a little bit more, come across this. And actually on this I'm getting a bit closer to the edge than I said I was going to. I'm cutting like right at the edge almost. Definitely don't want to hang over the edge because I don't want to, there's no wrapping to do there. It's all going to be covered by the rubber that goes around the window. Okay, let's see how this looks now. So if you see here how that pulled up, that's something that happens when you're tearing the material after you put the cut on it. And it doesn't always happen, but it just depends on how dry this area, and how well it's stuck down. Okay, go ahead and make sure all this is down, and then go ahead and dry that area a bit. All right, let's go ahead now and bring it down this way, and then this trim will be finished and we'll get to the rest of the door. All right, this is hanging over a little bit, which is kind of silly of me. I'm gonna go ahead and take it up a little. So, you know, I am leaving that 1/8 inch now. That's the way to go. Okay, let's see if we can start right here. Alright, and this needs to come up because we have a new trim line. Okay. We're kind of just going to go over most of the trimming process so you can kind of see, you know, how I do this and where I'm going to wrap to and things like that. So this area right here, as you can see, is going to have a lot of excess. So if I just push it over like this, you're getting some here and you're getting some here, and then the trim along the bottom runs all the way over to here. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of cut this straight like this. And then at this point, we'll start to go over this edge. There we go. All right, so on this section, all I want to do is round over just a little bit. So, you know, when we have this out like this, we're talking about maybe just a little bit over 1/8 of an inch. That'll get us some good coverage. Honestly, 1/4 inch would be too big, so. I mean, you're welcome to try and wrap a 1/4 inch, but these areas down here are going to be pretty difficult with a 1/4 inch hanging over. Because you're going to get a lot of excess material, and then you're going to get a lot of stretch on certain ones. Not a lot, you know, that's kind of an overstatement, but you know, right here when you push this over, you're going to get a little bit of stretch, which is going to create fingers here. So the more material you have hanging over, the worse that's going to be. Am I talking too much? Maybe I'm talking about nothing, huh? Like, why is he telling us this? All right. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and put the tack in there. And we kind of should be able to work this stuff down right now. So because this has a recess right here, I'm going to go ahead and push all that part down first, like that. And see how there's a little excess here now? So it just basically took any fingers that were going to be in here and pushed them up. And then they also went down just a little bit, but they actually went more to the top. Okay, let's see. That pink one tends to be a little too hard for this 90-degree edge, and I want to be able to wrap around. See how this one contours around that? Okay, and then if you did happen to leave, you know, what you consider to be a little bit of water or air on the edge, this tool is going to put a ton more pressure on that and really help get that down, as well if there's any, if you have any little fingers, then this tool is really going to help push all those out. Put some more tack in there. Okay. Let's see what we can do with these squeegees here. So there's going to be excess material in this area because of the way that it's rounding. So it's best if you kind of get the corner down again first. How many times have I said that throughout this video? Is that like super annoying? You said that like 12 times. Okay. So if you were to leave a 1/4 of an inch there, which probably come to about here, those fingers are just going to be worse and worse as you're trying to push over the material further back. And so that's why the 1/8 of an inch or so works really well on edges like this. So now also the other thing to know, if like, and this isn't really neither here nor there, if this was matte finish, I'd be coming all the way back and trying to get to like somewhere right in here. That way if you look between the two doors, you wouldn't see the gloss back in there. And then that, you know, that is, you probably end up having some relief cuts and stuff. All right, so now let's go ahead and trim this edge here. I did remove a piece of rubber that is just held in with clips up this part, and then this one is much easier up here to pull back, and we'll be able to tuck right in behind it. All right. You know, and so this edge here is going to be a really good candidate for just letting it dry, and then I'll go ahead and once it's dry, I'll go ahead and squeegee it out. Hang on a second. Let's talk about the right thing and not just be saying words out loud. Alright, so I went ahead and rinsed out that edge with the tack solution, and then this edge I'm going to go ahead and let dry, and then I'll come back with my wrap glove and wrap that around with a little bit of heat. Let's go ahead and see what you're looking at, and we're going to go ahead and trim here and then across the top. Okay, and actually, let's move everything. I've got to open the door just a little bit to do this. Alright, so right here on this edge, I'm going to just cut real close to it. We're basically going to do the 45 there. And then again, about 1/8 of an inch. Hanging over. Alright, let's see what we can do for reaching all the way out there. Turn this off. Alright, let's see if we can close the door just a little bit. Or all the way. Kind of walk down here. Make sure my pouch isn't going to scratch anything. Alright, and on this spot, I'm going to go ahead and let that dry as well, and then come back and hit that with a little bit of heat and a wrap glove. Alright, yeah, so we got this down here, and then I'll get all that later, and that's it. Nailed it. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up. That's what she said. Alright, well that's the process that we use is for bulking a door. If you found anything useful or helpful, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.